We will not tolerate practices that undermine the Namibian people's rightful share of the benefits. Our natural resources are national assets, and their development must always serve the public good. I therefore call on all industry stakeholders to conduct their operations with honesty, integrity, and full transparency in a manner that respects genuine respect for Namibia and her people. The oil and gas sector must uplift and not divide. It must empower and not marginalize. Government will remain open and welcoming to investors who share our values, respect our sovereignty, and partner with us to achieve sustainable and inclusive growth. Ladies and gentlemen, our national vision is clear. Oil and gas development must do as follows: create decent jobs for Namibians across the value chain, build domestic capacity through skill transfer and technology sharing, stimulate economic diversification by linking with manufacturing, logistics, energy, and other sectors, safeguard our environment and uphold our commitment to a just energy transition, and generate revenues that are wisely invested in the well-being of the current and future generations. The spirit in which we move from exploration to action. This is how we will position Namibia as the next energy frontier, not just in words, but in deeds.
Our recent offshore discovery, an estimate of 11 billion barrels of oil and 2.2 trillion cubic feet of gas, represent a generational opportunity to shape the destiny of our economy, empower our community, and establish Namibia and Southern Africa as one of the most prominent energy frontier on the continental and the globe. The theme, from explorations to action, positioning Namibia as the next energy frontier, it is very true. I, however, want to expand it and say, from explorations to action, positioning Southern Africa as the next energy frontier, because the hope and excitement that Namibia oil and gas discovery brought is not just hope for Namibia. It is a hope for Africa, especially Southern Africa. If managed well, those resources can be key enabler for industrialization, infrastructures, growth, skills development, and poverty eradication in the region. It is important to note that oil and gas have a potential to generate up to 7.7 billion per year in government revenue through royalties and taxes. Our government pledge, it's very clear. Every barrel, every cubic foot must translate into jobs, infrastructures, and opportunity for Namibians. The revenue will not be squandered. They will build schools, power our houses, and seed our renewable energy future. Local content will be the heartbeat of this industry. Our businesses, our skills at the center of value creation. To investors, I say, Namibia welcome you. Please feel welcome. But you must partner with us on our terms that protect our environment, respect our community, and share the benefit fairly. To Namibians, I say, this is your oil, your gas, your future rise. Prepare and take your place in this new front line.
With 20 member countries from Africa, Latin America, the Middle East, and Eurasia, the GECF represents over 70% of the world's proven gas reserves and half of global gas exports. 9 of these members are from Africa. In fact, the 3 most recent countries to join the forum, Mauritania, Mozambique, and Senegal, are all new African LNG exporters. And I have no doubt that Namibia will soon join this family of natural gas exporters. Excellencies, we meet at a time of profound shifts in the global energy landscape. Demand continues to rise, growing, and market dynamics are being reshaped by geopolitics, innovation, trade policies, and climate imperatives. And amid this transformation, natural gas has emerged as a stabilizing force, a fuel that is available, reliable, affordable, low in emissions, with a critical role in meeting the world's rising energy needs and development aspirations. At the GECF, we are convinced that natural gas is not just a bridge fuel, it is a destination fuel. It is not just a bridge to the future, it is an integral part of the future. It is indeed a pillar of energy security and sustainable development. And according to our recent Global Gas Outlook, global energy demand is projected to increase by 18% by mid-century, underpinned by economic growth and a population surge of 1.8 billion people, with 1 billion of those in Africa alone. And natural gas demand is expected to rise by 34% by 2050.
So our responsibilities as Namibians is to collaborate with investors to ensure that our oil and gas resources are developed responsibly, sustainably, and for the long-term benefit of our nation. Our vision is to create fully integrated oil and gas value chain that delivers upstream success, midstream infrastructure, downstream growth, and domestic energy security. We see opportunities in refining, LNG, petrochemicals, and regional energy trade. From a commercial perspective, Namibia offers a unique combination of factors that create a highly attractive investment environment. To mention but a few, we do have world-class petroleum systems, the geology have spoken, we have competitive physical terms and stable investment frameworks, strategic location with access to global export markets through our ports. We also have a government committed to local content sustainable energy development.
People have been reading a lot of news articles that Shell Namibia is not a priority. Please put things into perspective and tell us what is happening.
So Shell has a long history in Namibia. We were part of Kudu at one point in time, and we returned in 2014. And as Shakwa very well explained, we had our graph well in 2022, where we had the first discovery in the Orange Basin, which led to a very aggressive well campaign. So we've drilled a total of 9 wells, of which 6 have been exploration, 3 have been appraisal. We've done 2 well tests, and it's just an amazing operational campaign. Most of them dealt with discoveries. I'm sure you've read the news. Yes, we have found oil, but we've encountered some technical and mainly geological challenges that at this moment we don't see a pathway to commerciality. Nevertheless, doesn't mean that our interest in Namibia is not there. With our partners, NAMCOR and Qatar Energies, we're working really hard to try to figure out how we're going to continue understanding the subsurface of Namibia and moving forward And next year, we'll be conducting drilling activities again.
As you said, this is a basin, right? We're not talking about a particular portion of a basin. We're talking about the northern sector of the Orange Basin, but there is a huge amount of complexity. Adriano Bastos has also alluded to it, understanding the sediment pathways, understanding charge and migration history. There's still a lot of work to do to try and unlock the true potential over here. So I think from our perspective, we are obviously very excited after having drilled Sagittarius and Capricornus. The Capricornus well result, as I disclosed and as our partnership has disclosed, flowed an incredible 11,000 barrels a day. That was corrected oil. So, that's a phenomenal result for us. I think where we are right now is trying to understand Volance. Volance, obviously the well that we just spudded on the 31st of July. It's going to give us a really good picture. If I just put this graphically for people, we drilled Sagittarius in the north of our block. We drill Capricornus 30 kilometers to the south, and Volance is 15 kilometers north of Capricornus, so right smack bang in the middle. And I think the reality is that we've seen significant changes in the geology and indeed in the discoveries themselves, fluid content, everything else, between Sagittarius and Capricornus. So I think, part of our enthusiasm for this is that clearly there are discoveries to be made here. There is oil to be found in the basin. I think the other side of that is for us to take on the responsibility of managing expectations, to make sure that when I communicate on behalf of our JV to the government, to the Namibian stakeholders, it's something I can say absolutely hand over heart. This is what we believe is there.
One thing to just step back and looking at it as a service provider. So, for example, McDermott, I don't know if people know that, is the largest fabricator of offshore structures in the world in terms of capacity. So we've got 4 large fabrication facilities around the world spread, which is churning out, maybe 250,000 tons of steel every year. But I think it's important in terms of where they are located. So we don't have a fab facility in the USA or anywhere. So what we have one in Mexico, we have one in outside Dubai, then we have one in China, and then one in Indonesia. So again, these were set up for many years ago, and then the facility in Dubai and the one in Batam, Indonesia, was about 50 years ago, with a view of developing the local infrastructure and the environment around it, right? So that's very important. Why am I bringing this example? So that's the first step in terms of getting into a greenfield location. And there are other things which we've done as we moved along, right? For example, if you see recently in the last 15, 20 years, we tend to become more multi-local, we call it, right? We don't want, the days of 1970s and 80s where you would have a Western oil company come and, a service provider coming and trying to do all the work is not there. I think, there is development happening around the world. So what do we mean by multi-local is partnering with right people, right institutions in terms of developing local infrastructure. I'm not talking about, just taking 20 people and training them and then, finishing it. We are talking about setting up partnership, and I'll take some examples. The one we have in Vietnam, we went 35 years ago when Vietnam was starting oil and gas. We worked with the local government. They set up a fabrication facility, which we ran for many years, and then developed the people from there. And then they are now an international player in terms of offshore wind and oil and gas. And they continue to be our partners, right? And they continue to be all the projects we do. We bring the expertise in terms of technology, and they build the local infrastructure. So that's the kind of vision you need to have.
I think the term local content has been used, especially the policy has been used as waiting for that one particular document, probably that is supposed to do it all. But what the Namibian industry keep forgetting is that the local content requirement has been there in our law since 1990. Since the Exploration and Production Act has been enacted, that requirement has been there. And what we are seeing is that there are a number of companies that are really moving ahead without necessarily saying that they are waiting for a policy to come in there, and they are making those initiatives. And we are, as an industry, we are seeing the results paying off for those companies that have started to invest early in the Namibian industry, and it's helping the industry. With the petroleum agreement that all license holders here have signed to, there's a provision under Clause 22 and Clause 23 that mandates for the employment of Namibians. Within the same petroleum agreement, you also have a mandate that has been given to all the license holders for training and knowledge transfer and making sure that you build the skills and the capacity of Namibians. Within the same petroleum agreement, you also have the requirement for every activity and every operation that is to be done in conjunction with the participation of Namibian companies and the Namibian people, and to be done making sure that you use the Namibian goods and services. So those requirements, as we have now elaborated them further into the local content policy, are already there. What is lacking a little bit is that the coordination between the license holders and the service providers in cascading that requirement down to their contractors and to the subcontractor until the last participant within the value chain is what is slowly not is being uptaken at a slower pace. And this is where, therefore, we want to say, for Namibia, our law, the way it has been designed, has really been robust enough that it has taken care of every element and every requirement that is, and every ingredient that is required to make an industry that is robust, an industry that makes room for the citizen to also participate, but not only be recipients of the revenue when the production starts, but to be part and parcel of the industry.
So we drilling here so many wells without problems. So this is a testimony that we are serious about what we do and our commitment that we made to the people, to the environment, and to the country. That's good. I like that friendly competition. And why I say friendly competition? Because we are not competitors. We compete to secure the block. After that, we shall collaborate. Eduardo mentioned that it's a difficult place to operate, it's far away, we have some 3,000 meters, we have some mid-ocean issues, and there's no reason why should we replicate the inefficiencies of other areas. There's no reason why we should not share facilities, resources, in order to make our project. If Lohan allows me, because it was written there on your presentation, Mr. Shakwa, $20 a barrel to approve the project. To get to $20 per barrel in those conditions, not easy. So it's a lot of efforts to get there. And the best way to do that is to collaborate. And collaborating every single axe of the problem. It's not three-dimensional, maybe it's multiverse, the amount of issues that we need to resolve to get to those targets. And one of them is, of course, local resources. Come with a local content, come with a skillful local workforce, infrastructure, how we best use it, and how to help, not help, I hate who don't help, we collaborate. How to collaborate with the rest of the country. The country has other industry that needs to survive. If we pull, because of economic power, our gravitational force, all the skillful workforce from the other industry, the country will suffer. So we need to collaborate not only within the industry, but with the rest of the country. There's a lot of people that needs opportunities to find their own way. The industry will provide a certain level of empowerment and employment to a limited amount of people. But we need to create, or not create, but take the opportunity of that platform to enable others, to enable other the co-economic development.
What we can say that in 2018 there was a big reform of the petroleum system in Angola. beyond the very early big results that the beginning of the centuries, there was a lack of prospectivity in terms of willingness of the company to invest more, because there are serious reasons. And in 2010, the new president reformed the whole system and created a very clear system in terms of how the petroleum resources were managed in the country. And through this and through also local content laws and other regulations that are telling how to operate in Angola, but the attractiveness of Angola is increasing. And last year, I would say that it is one of the African countries under the spotlight in terms of investment, and new and old operators are bringing back, companies are bringing back in Luanda. It's a very successful reform. And this is through mostly more than the fiscal system. The fiscal system is important, but more than everything is how the relationship between the operator and the government, and the transparency and the flexibility, and also how the interaction with MPG, that is the agency that is basically making the interfaces, the first contact point of all the operators with the government, is creating a collaborative environment that led to a completely different attractiveness of Angola.